Shalom, brother and sister truth seekers. I wanted to do a quick video analyzing this data from France that came in recently. This is our brother's YouTube channel, and the video in question. I'll try and post a link for it in the description below this video. This is just phenomenal what he did. He did a time lapse. He mounted, I guess, his Samsung A51 phone to a sturdy frame and gave it a power supply and built a little roof over it to try and protect it from heat to make sure the thing didn't overheat, and it would take hyperlapse video all day long. I really hope more people try this. Just a quick highlight. Read his notes here. Get in touch with. We can put you in touch if you want to learn from everything he's done and do it yourself as well. But one important thing I'm seeing is definitely whatever you mount your recording device to, you will want to make sure it is sturdy. Because at some points in this video, you'll see things kind of wobble around a little bit due to the wind blowing on this thing and shaking it. It seems to always return to the same resting place eventually, but that made it a little challenging to analyze the data in this video. But on that note, I mean, this is just such a great way of doing it. It's certainly very cool to watch, but that's really not the most important reason for doing this. I think this is awesome because anyone, like any truth seeker, can come in after the fact and actually not just see a person's data, but actually see the shadow for themselves and actually like pick out the earliest and latest evening shadows that they can possibly see. Like, I think if you look at this, um, I think he stopped at a certain point of the day, and but the shadows continue longer, and he's got two different gnomons here. This one continues right up until the end of the video. He's got good sunlight on that one, but and so it's the early morning and late evening that we see the hook the most. So when I saw this, I just got really excited. I mean, this is close to 12 hours of data that he recorded. This is really almost the most optimal thing anyone could have done. So I wanted to take some screen captures and plot my own points and draw my own line, because it's kind of hard to tell. I can see the tips of these shadows, but I can't see his marks on the board. So I'm just going to walk you through quickly what I'm seeing, and just, as food for thought, so we can all think through this and talk about this. Don't know if it'll necessarily be 100% conclusive, but it's just to kind of give us an idea of what's possible and things to consider this time around and things to consider for future efforts like this. So all I did was I was full screening his video and taking screen captures at different timestamps of the video, so you can see that. So I was most interested in getting a timestamp at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day and at midday. And so I think really I got a total of 4 pictures, one for both the tall and short gnomon at the beginning of the day, one for both of them at midday, but then I needed 2 for the end of the day because the tall gnomon was running off the board and was becoming, you couldn't really see it too well anymore, and the short gnomon, it was on longer. So I got a screen capture for the end of the day for the big one and a screen capture for the end of the day for that one. But anyway, I just took screen captures at different points and had to make sure that these screen captures were the exact same size. So you'll see a number of them. And I checked and I set some transparency on some of these so we can check to make sure that that wobble didn't cause our view of this board to change. So I'm going to overlay these photos to make sure the board is like in the same exact position. And then all I did was, once I dropped a photo in place, I just took my own arrows and I dropped them on what appeared to be the tips of the shadows that I could discern. So for this photo, it was this arrow here to the tip and this arrow here to the tip. And that's what I did for every other photo of the day. So the next photo we'll look at, you'll see the shadow was at the tip of that arrow, and just kind of progress throughout the day. Let's take a look now. So the next one would be the one at solar noon, and the one at solar noon was actually the trickiest one at the last minute because I found out about the wobble after the fact due to the wind. If you actually watch the video around midday, you can see things are shaking a little bit. They seem to return back to their original resting place after the shaking is done, but nonetheless, it's important to make sure things are lining up. And I think the one that I eventually got was this one at 550, if I can grab it there. So, and another thing to check. So this was the trickiest one, because what I wanted to do, I'll just give you an example. What I wanted to do was just take the photo that was I'm gonna send this photo to the back. Oh, it's doing funky things with me. All right, so now this photo in front is the one at the end of the video. This is the last mark of the day. So just to show you, like when I overlap this, it's a perfect match. Like in the beginning of the day, the wind wasn't blowing, and at the end of the day, things were calm. And when you change the transparency on this photo, things were just they were just a perfect match. So I'm going to take the transparency, and you can see it's just nothing's moving. Only the light on the board is moving. So the board is sitting in the exact same position. Another thing I did was I ran this red line right on the side because I wanted to test another thing. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't like a fisheye lens or something that was causing the things to look curved or distorted when they're really not. So I pulled this straight edge along his straight board. I'm presuming it's a straight board, and it looks like there's no distortion. Like there was another brother who was experimenting with photo time lapse software, game camera or something, and he had a fisheye lens, and you could definitely tell like his board looked like an oval. It wasn't a rectangle. So this looks pretty close, pretty good. So so the one thing I did, just another check, if I send this picture to back, let me do it where we can see. If you watch the line right here, you'll see it's pretty much in the same exact place for both pictures. If I send to back, it's like it's in the same exact place. So it's not like things have moved. It's these two photos, the first picture of the video and the last picture of the video, 13 seconds and like 2 seconds before the end of the video. This one are like pretty much right on top of each other. So this is the one where I got the last point of the day for the small gnomon. So we already saw, did I say last? This is the last point of the day. So that's the last point of the day right there. And I'm just going to move this line out of the way for a moment so you can see there's where the gnomon is. And that's where I dropped that arrow. So now I think there was one more photo for this taller gnomon that I needed to get a little earlier. I think that's this one at 940. And again, the same test. I'm dropping the photo. It helps to be full screen like this because I can pull it all the way to the left side of the screen and it stops it, and then I pull it all the way to the top of the screen and it stops it. And these photos are just like perfectly stacked right on top of each other. And I'll just zoom in real quick. We'll do the same check real quick on that. So we'll look at our control point down here. and we'll just do it so I can see the timestamp here. So this is that last one we were just looking at in the back. You see nothing really changed. I'll just flip through them all real quick. So that's that first one of the day. This is our 940. This is the one I just added. That's the one before. See, nothing changed. They're right on top of each other. So that's how I got. Oh. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong one. I need the 941. 940. That's how I got this point here. So again, I'm just going to move this line out of the way. Move that arrow out of the way so you can see that. So, oops. Oops. No. This thing doesn't let me. Alright. Oh, these weird things to me. Okay, so there it is. And where I put it. Looks like it could have actually been a little bit more. Put it there. And then this line goes right through the tip of that. Okay, so now we have our endpoints and our starting points and our endpoints are done. And I guess when I shifted that a little, I'm gonna put this right on the tip of that because when I change the top one to match up there, it's got to pivot about that point. So I need it to be right on the point. All right. So now the last question is, where are these midday points? Do they fall on the north or the south side of the line? And so this is in France, so the sun is currently south. That means north is to the right over here. And again, the post-equinox curve is a bow under north. The pre-equinox curve is a smiley face curve under north. So when I first dropped the last photo on here, it was this one at 5:37, but I had to get a different photo because this one did move. Like, you can see how it's misaligned up here. Like when I grab this photo and I try and shove it up all the way into the corner like I did to the others so they're perfectly stacked on top of each other, you can see something moved. Like the wind must have pushed this photo, so things aren't aligned just a little bit. So I didn't want to use that photo. I took one more photo and I kept the same size, but I did. I mean, it was the same size photo, but I just shaved like this side. I just shaved this side and the top off it, so I could like move it into place. But I didn't shrink. I didn't shrink like the zoom on it. Like it's still going to be the same size board as this board. It's just a matter of lining it up to see. Ooh, I don't want to grab the wrong one. Okay. It's just a matter of lining that up perfectly right there. So you can see there's just ever so slight of a bit of a haze around the text here, but that's pretty good. Like we just want to be right on the corners of that board. We want everything to match. It's pretty close. Pretty close. All right. So we're like just a hair off, if anything, at this point. So this is how I got the midpoints then. So I looked now that I had this photo overlaid, and you can see I've got it set to transparent, so you can see the shadow from the later points coming through on that under photo, but these shadows are the ones from the midday point that we want to look at. And I do want to see those nice and defined now, so I'm going to I can just move that. I'm going to now change the transparency back to no transparency so it's nice and solid. And as you can see, I mean, these are clearly above the line at this point. Both of these, the tall gnomon and the short gnomon, are towards the north. So, again, food for thought. In my mind, this looks like a pretty solid witness for a post-equinox curve. But this was kind of a first time doing this. It gives us an idea of what can be done in the future. It's just really nice to be able to come in and actually see the shadows for yourself and like look and check things like this. Because like if you watch the whole video, like I said, it looks like he didn't get like the earliest morning and the latest evening points, and that can definitely have an effect on the data set. Like people can be seeing what appear to be straight lines for multiple days around an equinox event, but it's really those early morning and late evening points that create the most hooks. So food for thought. Let me know your thoughts. I will upload this Excel file to his folder on the Dropbox folder. So yeah, this is his folder from the 20th. Yeah, he collected this on the 20th. And by the way, he did think he was seeing the straight line on the 20th. So with these nuts and the marks that he made, he dropped he made a ruler and he dropped his line on the marks that he made, and he thought he was getting a straight line. I'm hoping to get a better picture where I can actually read this, but I think he did mention there were earlier points that he saw that looked lower, but he didn't feel they were reliable to mark because the shadow was kind of faded or whatnot, and most of us know how that goes. Uh, so I mean, yeah, just want to. This is just loving iron, sharpening iron. It sure looks like when you look at the earliest morning point and the latest evening point that we're seeing some projection here. But yeah, I don't know if I would say anything absolutely conclusive. Like the wobble is something to consider. I think it was minor, but it wasn't a perfect ideal situation with having to move those photos around and stuff. So just food for thought. Shalom, and or let me know your thoughts. And shalom, and may Allah bless you as you continually seek out His truth and love with a pure heart.